This is the GTN Show, and this week we're going to be talking about high-vis running clothing, but with a difference, a new triathlon bike from Factor, and a triathlon you can do from your own home.
Well, on top of that, we're going to be looking at the pro triathlon prize money. We're going to be questioning the morals within our sport, and then we've also got some very exciting racing news to come.
First up, let's talk about high-vis running clothing. Now, my experience of high-vis run clothing isn't great. It's normally, not the most fashionable.
It's normally something that, I always found when I was getting out my bike when I was younger that my mom would be like, you must wear this high-vis thing. And I'm like, I'd sort of go up the drive with it and hide it in the hedge so I didn't have to look uncool when I was riding my bike.
If you're heading out for a hard run, they're often quite unbreathable materials.
Yeah.
So they just tend to be pretty rubbish. Well, there's this new brand called Volback that has brought out quite fashionable running clothing, and most importantly, it's black, which doesn't really sound high-vis, really, does it?
Well, it's pretty understated, but they've used little dots, and don't worry, they're not like fluorescent dots, but they pick up the light, so they've got little micro beads or something, I think, within them. And they're placed, if you just look at the picture, it looks kind of just random places on the body, but they've designed that especially so that when somebody is running or cycling, they sort of research how the human eye works, and that movement, from those dots, you'll be able to work out what that person is doing so that it won't confuse motorists.
Yeah, that's really clever. And also they've got a range of clothing. So, on a run, you might take your top off and then you have just a shirt on underneath. That also has these reflective dots on them. So it's been very well thought out.
Well, that's also quite good marketing point, isn't it? Because then they're saying, well, you need to get all of that range so you're ready for any weather and you buy more of our clothes. It works.
Okay, next up, let's talk about everyone's favourite, a new bike. And this one comes from UK brand Factor. Now, last year they released their time trial bike, the Slick, for the Paris-Nice road cycling race, where they support the team AG2R La Mondiale. Now, they've just brought out their triathlon bike.
They have, so it's got a few alterations. There's the bike box on the back, and they've got a space for you to be able to fit your top tube bag. And they've interestingly been working with 51 Speed Shop to really work on the aerodynamics specific to triathletes.
Yeah, so 51 Speed Shop is, I believe, a Boulder-based company. They do a lot of bike fitting and aerodynamic testing. So they've gone in quite thoroughly into making this bike triathlon specific with things like the aero bars and, like you say, with the storage box on the back. Now, it's quite an obvious and noticeable bike because it has a split down tube. Now, I know you quite like the look of it, didn't you?
Yeah, it's interesting. They say that it's so that you can still have the same stiffness in the bike, but it doesn't disrupt the airflow. So the air obviously goes through the middle of the down tube, and they're saying that doesn't disrupt it, and then it goes straight and then it parts around the seat tube. I don't know anything about the intricacies of aerodynamics to know how that is different to just going around a single piece.
If it's good enough for Romain Bardet, it's good enough for us, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so for some of us, we're quite a long way away from our race season. Are you missing it, Heather?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm getting a bit itchy feet.
Well, worry not, because you can now compete in a triathlon from your own home and perhaps even over a beer.
Oh, sounds up my street.
Well, I think we need to take a look at this. This is the Triathlon Series board game. Let's take a look.
This is Triathlon Series, the most challenging and fun triathlon-inspired board game. Play it and you'll get the entertaining lactic acid. Prepare! You are about to become an amateur triathlete struggling to find the time for training. Steady your mental and energy state and be as ready as you possibly can for the race. Your objective is to be the first at the finish line. Good luck!
Well, that's certainly a little different for a triathlon, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's brought to us by After Race Games, who are obviously quite passionate triathletes. And I think, that's next Christmas sorted, isn't it?
Definitely. Well, moving on, Thorsten Radde from TryRating.com has been up to his analysis again, and this time he's come up with the prize money analysis from last year from the pro racing.
Yeah, he's a pretty clever guy, this Thorsten chap, so I think we need to get the laptop out to check this data.
Look at these numbers, yeah.
Yes, quite a few of them. So really interesting, actually. He's gone through all the different events, the events companies, Ironman Challenge, ITU. So from 2017 and 2016, he's noticed that the Ironman full distance events prize money is down 1.8%, which doesn't sound like much, but you're kind of hoping it would increase,
Yeah,
not go
if you're
down.
making a living from it, I'm sure it's pretty depressing news, isn't it?
Yeah, and then for the Ironman 70.3 races, it's down actually 9.8% on 2016. Yeah, and then Challenge Family, though, interestingly, is up 22%. I'm guessing with the addition of the championship race in Slovakia, perhaps. And then for the ITU events, he didn't actually have the 2016 stats to do a comparison from one year to the next, but he has done an accumulative prize purse of all the events: Ironman, Ironman 70.3, Challenge, ITU, Xterra, the big races like Alpe d'Huez. And there is a total prize purse for triathlon over 1 year of $10 million, which sounds like a lot, right?
It does.
Yeah, but then you compare that to the PGA Championship, the big golfing championship each year, and they have a prize purse of $10.5 million for one event.
Oh, it makes me want to cry.
Yeah,
It's depressing, that news.
I think when we've got so many athletes trying to make a living from the sport.
And how physically hard. I know, like, I don't play golf, but I know it is tough. Any sport's tough at the top, but surely, triathlon is equally as tough, at least.
I think we need to up our game, triathlon. Next up, Ironman are celebrating 40 years since their first ever triathlon on Hawaii just a couple of days ago.
Yeah, it was February the 18th, 1978, that 15 athletes decided that they wanted to work out who was the toughest athlete. We come back to this toughest athlete again. And 15 of them competed the Ironman distance, so 2.4 mile swim, the 112 mile cycle, and then the marathon run. And it's crazy to think, like, how, I'm sure those 15 never imagined what Ironman was going to become.
Well, now 248 events worldwide, I think it is,
like that.
and people tattooing their
that's
brand onto their
crazy.
calves and all sorts. It is incredible to see where it's gone.
You've done well when you're seeing tattoos. When we see GTN tattoos on our viewers, then we know we've done well, I reckon.
Well, happy birthday, Ironman.
Well, now it's time for the GTN Tribe, where we get to plot your club on our worldwide map. And this week we are back to the UK. It's Tri Club from Preston.
Well, hang on here, Heather. We've got a couple now from the UK.
I know, we are looking a little biased, but actually we want to hear from you. So wherever you are in the world, whatever you're doing with your Tri Club, even if you think it's maybe not that exciting, we still want to know.
Yeah, we want to fill out this space here. Less over here.
There's got to be some clubs there. Anyway, we're back to Tri Preston, and Chris Barry has sent this in. And it's actually 20 years since the club has formed, so pretty good anniversary coming up, I'm reckoning.
Yeah, and they've got a mix of Ironman age group winners, GB participants, and absolute beginners.
Yeah,
which is
I
great.
like their kit. I think it looks like a Bianchi blue, but apparently, I'm guessing from the name of their supporters, the Teal Army, it's got to be a teal green or teal blue.
It's a really cool kit. And also, I mean, Preston's quite a long way from us, but we've both been to Preston whilst on our bikes.
On our bikes, yeah.
Yeah, cool part of the world.
It is quite a common sort of stopping point, I think, if you are riding from the bottom of the country to the top. So we both did it Land's End to John O'Groats, so you might well have been through Preston.
Yeah, and yeah, a fantastic squad. They say that they're like a massive family. They go and support each other at their events, even if they're not racing, which is great. That's what you want from a club, don't you? Well, yeah, please keep sending in your clubs and videos, photos. We love to hear about them and what you're up to. So do that using the hashtag GTN Tribe, or send us a message over Facebook. Now for the race news, and this weekend we had Ironman 70.3 Geelong over in Australia, and on the men's side it was a packed field. We had the likes of Josh Amberger, Sam Appleton and Ryan Fisher dueling it out.
Yeah, I mean the swim was pretty hot, with two of the best swimmers probably in the men's pro field at the moment.
Yeah, so Josh Amberger and Ryan Fisher came out pretty much neck and neck to sort of take the lead. Sam Appleton about 30 seconds back, but he managed to bridge that gap on the bike. He is a very strong biker. And it actually came down to a running race. It was Sam Appleton that pulled ahead. He went off blistering 1:14 half marathon run split to take the win. And then it was Josh Amberger and in third, Ryan Fisher.
Well, it's a 1, 2, 3 for Australia. Pretty good result. Well, on the women's side, it was almost a top finish for Australia, and it turned out to be an incredibly exciting race. It was a battle, basically, between Grace Deck of Australia and Nina Deron of Switzerland. And they changed places a few times. I mean, Deron had a huge lead going into the run, and then Grace Deck wound it down, and she basically had the lead at 20k. So with 1k to go, she had about a 20-second lead.
I saw, actually, that she said, I went out of a pace plan of 4-minute Ks, and she found herself doing 3-minute 30Ks and obviously took the lead.
Well, I think maybe it was those 3-minute 30Ks that suddenly came to bite her just before the finish line, because the photos are she's literally meters from the line and she just stumbled to the ground. And I mean, we've not actually seen the exact footage, just seen the photos, and it looks like maybe she got cramp or something, and I think she got up and then fell down again. And in the meantime, Nina Deron came past her and took the win.
That's awkward, isn't it? Well, in third place, it was also Laura Dennis.
Well, staying in the Southern Hemisphere was Challenge Wanaka on the weekend over in New Zealand. And this, for the first year, has actually been reduced from the full distance to the 70.3 for the pros. And as a result, attracted a strong field, but it's New Zealand at its best. It threw all the weather at them. They had strong winds. At the start, I think it was rainy and cold. And then at the finish, there was athletes, really needing to be able to cool down because it just got really hot. So pure New Zealand.
Yeah, and it was an absolutely stacked field. We had the 2-time 70.3 world champion Javier Gomez turning up, as you do.
Yeah.
We had a defending champion, Dougal Allen, twice defending champion actually. We had the likes of Dylan McNeese, who's also won the full distance challenge Wanaka. We had Joe Skipper, Luke McKenzie. It was fast, it was furious.
It was.
And it turned out to be a very exciting competition because 8 of those guys came into T2. And I mean, I would have struggled to pick out the winner from all of those names. And it was eventually Javier Gomez that pulled away and took the win over Braden Curry. And then in third, it was Jessie Thomas.
On the women's side, it was a close battle between Annabelle Luxford of Australia and Great Britain's Laura Siddle. Now, Luxford opened up a huge lead on the swim, but Siddle wore her down on the bike, and they actually came into T2 fairly close, and I think leaving with Luxford just in front. And then that gap opened up to about 40 seconds, but Siddle closed it down, and she got within 11 seconds. Now, the reason that's significant, Laura Siddle has done this race for the 4th year in a row, and she has come second every time. So Annabelle Luxford took the win. It was Laura Siddle in second, and then third place went to Amelia Watkinson, New Zealand. And Siddle did say here, lying down again. So Wanaka, that's 4 years and 4 second places, just 11 seconds in it this year. Frustrating.
That hurts. But I also understand you got a bit of inside knowledge on the race, Heather.
Yeah, well, I actually got this message on Instagram from Sam James Wall. Thanks for the message, Sam. Said he did his first half Ironman race at Wanaka on Saturday. Loved it. But to the point here, this is in his words. We had Javier Gomez there, and after the race, my mum told me that Braden Curry, who came second to Gomez, had his chain slip off as they were riding up a hill, and Gomez waited at the top of the hill so Braden could catch up and they could still have a fair race. I think that's outstanding sportsmanship and shows what incredible moral ethic Gomez has.
That is pretty phenomenal, actually. I mean, I know we see stuff like this happen in pro cycling, but triathlon, I mean, it's a short race, and I'm not sure I've ever heard of anything like that.
I mean, we've seen the Brownie brothers help each other, but
True.
That's brotherly. That's a brotherly bond. You're on the same team, and it was like his brother was in trouble.
Yeah, and interestingly, they've changed the rule now, so they can't actually do anything like that.
And I wonder if the organisers would be happy knowing that as well.
Yeah, but then, on the flip side, we've just talked about the result from Geelong, where, one competitor's passed the other just, a few steps from the other one. That should they have helped them out? You're the winner. You've just had a little accident going over the line. Push you across. I'd be interested to see what Gomez would have done in that case.
Yeah. And I don't think you know what you would do yourself in that situation.
Yeah, and I mean,
you have a split second to
like
decide.
we say, we haven't seen the video footage, and it could have perhaps, literally, they're both sprinting for the line, and someone fell down, and fair, you're the winner.
Yeah.
But there is a big debate about morals in triathlon there.
Yeah.
And next up, we have the Big Husky Triathlon, which is part of the Big Husky Triathlon Festival. And that takes place in Huskisson, Australia. And they have a sprint distance race, which is also an ITU World qualifying race, specifically for the age groupers. But this does attract a lot of the pros, the likes of Ashley Gentle.
Yeah, well, she took the win on the women's side more comfortably than last time. I think she had a close race earlier on in the season, but she took it by about 40-odd seconds for the comfortable win.
Yep, and over on the men's side, it was Max Stapley.
Well, staying down under in Australia, it was the Paratriathlon World Cup in Devonport. And it was a wheelchair racing that actually caught our eye, because Lauren Parker, in April last year, had a tragic accident when she was out on her bike, just a week before competing in an Ironman. She had both of her tyres blew out, they didn't really work out what, but she basically lost all feeling from her belly button down. That's only April last year, and she is now racing for Australia in the World Cup, and she actually finished second in the wheelchair category. So it was Emily Tapp of Australia who won it, Lauren Parker, Australia, in second, just ahead of Wakako Shishida from Japan. And obviously these athletes are now really gearing up for the Commonwealth, so competition is hot, but incredible transition so quickly for Lauren Parker.
And another person that will be really gearing up for the Commonwealth Games is Bill Chaffee of Australia, and he is the 5-time world champion, also on the wheelchair side. So he took the win in this event over Nick Beveridge, and then in third it was Benjamin Lenatz.
Well, it's now time for the GTN poll, and last week we asked you whether you prefer to train and race in the heat or the cold, and both of us actually opted for the heat. I think both racing and training, really. I don't know about you, Mark, but I'm that way.
Training, racing,
the lot.
Everything.
Yeah. Well, it was closer than we expected. 56% of you said you'd rather be too hot, and that left 43% of you being too cold.
Yeah, and we had quite a lot of comments coming in and quite a variety. It did seem like more people preferred the cold, though, in the comments.
Yeah.
But Bob Cat said it's much easier to warm up than to cool down.
It's all in perspective, that one, isn't it?
Try Beyond said, I love a good sufferfest in the heat. William Vardy, I prefer to train in the heat but perform better racing in cooler weather, which is really interesting.
Yeah,
actually.
I don't know, that's like the opposite to when we talk about preparing for the type of weather you're going to race.
Perhaps it's just that adrenaline, you just want to warm yourself up so you just go harder.
Maybe.
Justin Becker said, cold, you can always wear more, but you can only take so much off before you get to disqualify, which is a good point.
It's true.
And then Ryan Flynn actually was picking up on the fact that we were talking about -16 for the Winter Olympics, and he said, you guys are so cute thinking that -16 degrees Celsius is extreme cold. That would be a decent day for the past few months here in Canada. Valid point. I think, though, considering a lot of the Winter Olympic athletes are used to the cold, there must be more going on up there. I think it's the wind chill, 70 kilometre per hour winds and stuff.
I think so. Anyway, we're moving on from weather. We are British and we talk probably too much about the weather. So this week, we want to know whether you put your shoes on in T1 and then run to your bike wearing your shoes, or whether you clip them onto your bike and do a flying mount.
Yeah, I mean, this is, quite a common debate, and which is faster. I think we need to do a little bit of an investigation here. Yeah. But we'd actually like to hear what you're doing at the moment. Are you putting your shoes on, and as Heather says, running to your bike and out of transition, clippity-cloppy through T1? Or are you going barefoot through T1 and then mounting your bike with your bike shoes already on your bike? And you can enter that poll by clicking above Heather's head. Okay, now for the GTN Pain Cave, where we get to see where you do all your indoor training. And first up, we have one from Tom Carnes, and well, this doesn't really look like a pain cave. This looks far too...
It looks beautifully designed.
Yeah, very tranquil.
And quite a Nordic style to the room. Anyway, we probably should look at the training setup, shouldn't we?
So he has a set of rollers, and he has his Avilia road bike set up ready to pop it on there.
And if he is doing it just after taking this photo, he's going to be watching the Winter Olympics. So it's a little far away on the screen, but he's watching the Bob Skeleton.
Yeah, and he's got a set of weights out. Whether he's really using them or not, I don't know. But they look great for the photo, Tom. And then, interestingly, I mean, we're trying to figure out what this kind of rolled thing is. And I actually think he's rolled up the carpet so he can do his roller session.
If you're a bit sweaty and you want to keep your... I mean, that carpet looks pretty immaculate.
Well, yeah, I think it's a great idea. That is just, it's just dedication, isn't it?
Yeah,
to
get
the
training
training
in. It's another excuse not to do your turbo if it was me. I have to have it ready.
Yeah. And next up from Greg Slan, sent in over Facebook, and he has got his Planet X TT bike set up. I mean, this is quite a Planet X heavy photo. We've got Planet X wheels hanging up, Planet X bike shoes down there, Planet X saddle.
Maybe a sponsored athlete.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, he's also well hydrated. He's got 2 bottles of high-vis, or something in both of those. And then he's also got 2 iPads and a TV.
Yeah, he's got almost, well, it looks like Zwift on one iPad, Zwift on the TV.
And then music maybe on the... I'm not sure what he's listening to. I can't quite see from here.
Well, it says he's watching Suits, actually, so he's got everything going on.
Wow, that's quite a lot to take in, isn't it?
Well, that is, that's pretty impressive. Next up, we have Exquil Fernandez Suerto, and this, again, is sent in over Facebook.
Another Zwifter here.
Yeah, and he has got a giant SCR road bike set up on, I think that's a Tax Neo Turbo Trainer, but we can't see it all there. on the top of an Ironman 70.3 Buenos Aires
From
town.
last year, yeah. So
It's cool.
getting ready for this season, and then just, you know, maybe to keep him entertained. There's quite a few balls in that kiddie's box. I reckon he sits on his bike just like throwing them in.
Or maybe he's just juggling them as
Yeah.
well whilst he's going.
Good core
No, I'm
workout.
pretty sure it's probably for his child, Heather, but
Oh,
you know,
okay.
just to point
Just an idea.
But yeah, please do keep sending in your pain caves using the hashtag GTN Pain Cave over Twitter, or send them in over Facebook.
Well, it's time for the Caption competition, and last week we had a picture of this man on the phone just ahead of Ironman 70.3 in Dubai.
Rather shady, if you ask me.
Well, you guys came up with some good captions. We had quite a few to choose between, and we've selected 3 of our favourites. And this first one here from Chris Harrison. Hey boss, not going to make it into work today. I'm too sick.
That was good acting there, Heather.
Thanks.
Ryan Zapokny said, in a Liam Neeson voice, just imagine this, I have a particular set of skills that I've acquired over a very long career. Swimming just isn't one of them.
Well, our favourite for this week, for the winner of the cap, is Mikel Zubieta, who says, yes, Mum, I'll do it. No, not now, Mum. I'm with my friends now.
That's brilliant. Well, you have won the cap, so please just get in touch over Facebook to claim that. But this week, we have a photo from last year's Challenge Roth, and I mean, I'm not really sure what's going on here. I'm guessing this is a outfit for the area in Germany, perhaps.
Yeah, well, there's a circus sort of nearby, and they came to watch.
Kind of look like they're about to whip the cyclist, which is kind of scary. But we'd love to hear your captions, so please drop them in the comments below. That is the GTN Show. Please do get in touch in the comments. We love reading them. And also, don't forget to enter our poll just up there.
Oh, yeah.
And also, if you want to make sure that you never miss another video from GTN, you can click on the globe and subscribe.
And if you like the look of these jumpers or t-shirts or any of the kit you've seen us wearing, you can buy that by clicking on the link for the shop. And it's getting to that time of year when you might be starting to think about open water swimming. If you want to work on your confidence, well, we've made a video here for you.
And like us, we're doing a half marathon in a couple of weeks' time. So you might be thinking about doing some tempo runs. Well, we've explained how to do them and what they're all about. You can see that by clicking here.